Hey guys, how you doing, wombats? I got to tell Mike what the whole wombat thing is about. That being said, welcome to T11. I hope that your week is going strong. This is kind of turning into a lot of people call it vlogging, but I don't. This is more of a vlogcast because it's kind of a vlog, video blog about a life and a podcast. And one of the guys that I really love, I get to have on the show today. That's comedian Mike Pace. How the hell are you, Mr. Pace?
I'm doing great. I just got over pneumonia, but I'm doing fine now, and that won't affect you because you're thousands of miles away. So
Yes, okay, then it won't, will it? All
I
right,
won't
so I'm
I
going to
won't I won't breathe on you.
go. So I got to tell you, Mike, I sometimes it's good to have a friend going through a similar situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
And
yeah, misery loves company.
it really is, and I have to be honest. I do feel a little miserable right now. I've always talked about ages of awkward. Like when you're 15 years old and you're a boy, I mean, it's an awkward age. You know, you don't know what's going on. Your voice is changing. You're getting hard no matter, the wind is stiff, whatever. And then I found that like in the 40s is also a real awkward age because you're kind of going, well, my career hasn't really met my standards or whatever. But now at this age, I find this to be almost like 15 years old again.
Well, I
I,
mean, I wish we were building a fort in the woods.
I
That'd be great.
well, so
I'm
we
looking
could
at
go in there.
Playboys
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say go play with playboys and stuff. Is that what you're
and,
saying?
and drinking a 40 and getting hammered. Yeah, it was a good time. I would love to go back to that.
The reason why I wanted to talk to you today, well, there's a lot of reasons. I love talking to you, but I think that you and I are kind of in similar situations. We have established careers. You're a headlining comedian and have been for years. You've been on a lot of TV shows, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and all kinds of other things. TV commercials, and you're an established stand-up comedian. Any comedians that I talk to that are rolling through town, you end up talking about buddies you have in comedy. I say, Mike Pace. Oh, I love that guy. People love you and all that. And so both of us have these established careers going on, but there's also a feel of change in the air. And what do you think what do you attribute that to?
Um, well, here's where I'm at. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, I'm not sure I should mess with where I'm at because I'm just kind of getting used to who I am. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of getting comfortable with the my fucked upness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sober. Uh, I think a lot about his stuff. I visualize doing a lot of things, and then when it comes right down to it, I sometimes don't. That's who I am. Okay. So there's part of me that wants to be completely involved in everything, and there's part of me that wants to go, excuse me, be a hermit in the woods. So I that's the conflict with me.
Is there another part of you creatively and also the, being the age we are and you kind of start thinking about retirement maybe 10 years down the road or even sooner for some people? For me, I want to go at least another 10 or something, before I give it up. But I don't think I'll ever give it up. I mean, creatively, do you think that you're fine just right where you are, or is there something else you really want to do and your job, so to speak, is kind of holding you back?
Well, I mean, the time it takes to travel and do the job is I mean, I could obviously be more productive, but you're just exhausted all the time when you're traveling. So, um, but I'd like to write a book. I'd like to make a little movie. I'd like to, start auditioning again. I'd like to do all those things, but I can't be everywhere at once. And that kind of lends itself to the, fuck it. This is where I am. This is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And I don't like that feeling at all. I wrote something last night, and I'll just kind of read it to you real quick. It says, I've never been afraid to critique myself. It is maddening. My dad once told me after I got in trouble once that punishing me or grounding me would not be near as bad as the number I was going to be doing on myself. The brutal, the brutal inner dialogue that makes me so fucking nuts. I see what it did to my mom, and it's not a good place to be. And I'm starting to understand myself, and I'm almost dead. I think any major changes from accepting what a fuck up I am might be too much for my system. you, when do you become content? And the other thing too is, I think we live in a society now where nobody's laying on the grass and looking at the clouds anymore. And
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's a real important thing. Especially, it helps me to get focused on things. You were talking about being, can you be content, but also driven at the same time? Wanting to achieve some goals or some things that you see out there that look like they're fun. And if something great happens out of it, great. But can you be content? What is being content to you? Because it might be different to me.
well, like the other day, I was in Maui and I'm watching all these guys surf these big waves, and part of me wants to surf those big waves, but the other part of me knows that I can die on those big waves. So, you know,
That's a little different than career. I mean, I don't think you're going to be hooking up with Laird Hamilton anytime soon.
yeah, I mean, but I'd still like to get out. It's kind of the same thing, though. I'd like to get out there, but I mean, I'm uh, who wants to? I don't know. It's so youth oriented. Like I want to be able to do all this technology, and I want to be able to push the envelope, and I want to be able to do all that stuff. Um, but I'm not good at that part. Like they came up with this computer thing just to fuck us up.
See, see, I think you're very good at pushing the envelope. That's one of the things I love most about you. You have zero fear when it comes to your opinions. But you're not one of those opinionated guys. You're not one of those guys that has to be heard. But when you talk, it's usually pretty damn important sometimes,
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
I'm not one of those guys that at Christmas dinner goes, "Could you pass the salt?" Boy, that Biden's a piece of shit, or Trump's a fucking dictator or whatever. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if I'm confronted by it, I will address it. Like if I see something wrong, there's just a part of me that has to jump in on it and make it right. And I I I I remember once my brother and I, we were in Chicago, and this is back when the big video cameras were like this big, and you put a tape in it, and this kid runs by and steals it from this guy and starts running. And, part of me is like, I'm getting ready to run after the guy. And my little brother goes, "Is that your camera?" And I go, No." And he goes, "Well, what the fuck do you care?" And I'm like, wow, that's a whole different, do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, I mean it's a total different mindset, but your initial reaction is to run toward the fire.
right. But it's like, at the same time, when I see these kids coming in and looting these places, there's a part of me that gets pissed off, but then there's another part of me that goes, Nike's a piece of shit company. They've been fucking using child labor for, 100 years. What the fuck do I care? So that, I mean, there is,
See, I think that's healthy. I think
yeah,
that's extremely healthy because more people need to be able to look at things from both sides.
right,
That's what we're missing right now. But I too am one of those guys. I mean, on the Alexa Terry show, people are always we joke about it that we call myself the Samaritan because
right.
I walk around town and if I see an old lady walking around and she's walking to her car and if I'm walking with my wife, she'll say, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just keeping an eye on her. I'm making sure nobody messes with her while she gets to her car." Like I'm going to run in and be Mr. Captain Save-A-Ho or something like that. But I just have that sensibility about me. And like you, I see people looting, but I haven't got to that. Well, screw those big companies. I just want to take a gun to all of them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they need the money more than I do. I don't, the system, there's that part of all of us that were raised correctly, middle class, which is gone, and we were taught to. buy things and live within our means and all that. But then you look around at the way the world is now, and you're like, am I the only schmuck living by the rules?
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of these kids see that way too. They're like, "What?" you know, I'm stealing a bunch of tennis shoes. It's peanuts compared to the billions that people aren't paying in taxes, or the loopholes that they're going through, and the some of the crimes they're getting away with because they are so rich and can buy their ways out of it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm conflicted all the way around too. I understand. I understand right and wrong, but I you know, how many how many people of those people are in the situation that they're in because Nike took their job away, or Nike,
Amazon.
yeah, or whoever sent their jobs overseas, or I mean, I have trouble caring about the big guy, and I have trouble with the violence of what they're doing by stealing. So
Man,
it's
I
very
wish I could
conflicted.
be more like you because I'm a guy that I have not got a gun only because I know I would use it.
Hmm.
I know that I'd, oh yeah, one of those things.
Well,
You-
I think it's very liberating to be able to go. Um, and I learned this just recently. I've always been a rageaholic and a kind of an asshole, but I'm just driving differently now. I'm kind of
yeah,
like I'm kind of driving slow to piss people off. I'm kind of driving like the guy that I was behind when I was raging, and I let people pass, and I don't. I'm not in that big a hurry, and
yeah,
I don't
I
know.
have the
Things have
same thing.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is one of these people that yells at, and Sherry, yells at cars that are changing lanes 50 people ahead of her. Like, what's that guy doing getting over there? And I'm like, Sherry, he's not affecting you like your brother did to you. But, but that's not a major injustice like looting or something to me. I mean, that's just some guy being an asshole and not letting him get to you. I, uh, I
Well,
was
I
at
mean,
this,
but the consequences of it is when a guy's driving like that, he could really hurt people. I mean,
yeah,
I see. I mean, in Southern California, I was just in San Francisco, and those people should not drive at all. They should all walk because they don't know how to drive.
yeah,
They drive like they're spaced out on
which they
something.
probably are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you're like, dude, you got. Well, Seattle's the same way. I think it's kind of these very intelligent people that aren't good at menial tasks like driving.
Like yesterday, I was at the coffee shop, and this is a moment that I was proud of myself. Speaking of being able to try to look at things, or at least look at yourself in the right moment. I was at this coffee shop, and it was a coffee shop that I haven't been to in a long time, just because it's the one I go to is usually outdoors, but now it's shitty weather. So I went to this place, and there was this guy behind me in line. I could tell he wanted some sort of confrontation with somebody. He was just antsy and jittery, and he started to say things about me like, you don't know what you want, that type of stuff. And when I normally would have turned around and said, hey, fuck off, fuck stick, something like that, i i I said, oh, this guy's trying to get to me. I have a choice here whether to be Mr. Alpha Male and bow up and make a big scene, or just stay in my own lane, let this guy yell, let this guy be a jerk, let me go through my own thing and have zero confrontation whatsoever. And after I did that, I was so proud of myself, and I felt like that was more of an alpha male move than getting into a fight with the guy. I felt like just letting it go and being the bigger dude was like such a big fuck you. Maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better for being a pussy, but I felt
No,
that I felt like I actually matured a little bit yesterday.
I kind of have two things. It's kind of like when Guy Ritchie in the Sherlock Holmes movie, he does the whole thing in his head how he's going to punch the guy and blah blah blah. Like part of me wants to take that nice heavy creamer thing and bludgeon the guy to death, and then you know the other part of me is he's a miserable fuck and let him live in his fucking shithole. But
Uh-huh.
I got a great story exactly like that. You remember Vic Dunlop, right?
You know what? Vic Dunlop was the guy that I was doing comedy on Sherry's and my first date, and Vic was the headliner, and it was I always remember Vic. I love Vic. He was great.
Yeah, he was like one of my first headliners, and I used to watch him on Make Me Laugh, and he kind of, just watching him and Kip Adada and
Bruce
Bruce
Baum,
Baum, and they kind of
Gary
pushed
Mule Deer.
yeah pushed me in the direction of doing this crazy shit.
Yeah,
So we're in at the Borgata in Atlantic City, and
oh, been there.
there's a Starbucks in the Borgata, and I'm very protective of Vic because Vic's like was like my dad, like my mentor, right?
Yeah.
So, but you know how Vic is. He's a Southern California guy, and he's we're at the Starbucks, and he's in line going, yeah. So, what isn't that vanilla macchiato thing, right?
He
And
had
I'm behind,
questions.
right, and I'm behind him, waiting my turn, and then behind me, the same fucking douchebag that was behind you,
Uh
uh, only New Jersey. You're gonna order a what? What the fuck? Jesus fucking Christ! I only got so many hours in a day. You son of a bitch, right?
Something part of me respects that guy, but go
Right.
ahead.
So I turn around and I go, "Fuck you, you piece of shit!" And as I turn around, I start looking up and up and
uh
up. The man that had to be, I don't know, 7 foot fucking tall, built like a
uh,
brick shit house. Probably played for the fucking Giants. I don't know,
yeah.
but I was too far in. I already dove in to the pool, so now I gotta swim. And he goes, "What did you say to me?" I go, "Suck my fucking dick." And he goes, "You know what? I'm gonna buy you and your friend a cup of coffee if you hurry the fuck up and get the fuck out of the way." So, so we all won.
Oh, that was cool. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah,
See, yeah, I mean, I this, there's a time to stand up for yourself. There's a time not. But I love how you said I was already too far in to where it's like you
yeah,
can't go. Oh, I'm auditioning for a role of the
right,
asshole in a coffee shop.
right. I'm just, I, pardon me, kind sir. I must have overreacted to your lengthy bulkiness. No, I was just like, I had a couple times in my life I've done that, and they've been huge animals, and they
Yeah.
just kind of respected the fact that I would stand up to them
He
because,
went there. This
yeah.
guy went. Sometimes you do get that respect, especially back there in Jersey where they got some sort of code, about
Oh
them.
my
So,
god! The first time I went to Jersey, I thought it was like, okay, this is a fucking prank show. People can't be like this, but
oh, they're like that, aren't they?
yeah, yeah,
Hilarious. So let's get back to this reinventing of yourself thing. I am in a position right now in my life, and I think you are too, where it's not like I'm looking for the next thing, because right now we do have careers. We have jobs we could do and everything else, and we're good at them. And we've been doing them for a long time. But there's still something about me that wants to be prepared for a rainy day. I also want to be a part of this game. I want to be a part of the YouTube, podcasting thing. I find it to be extremely fun. And if I could learn all the equipment, I think that I would just start spitting shit out and having a really good show for everybody. But, you know,
I mean,
doing this, I do have these fears like you do. Like, am I wasting my time? Should I be spending this time, like you said, laying on the grass and looking up at the clouds and enjoying that or what? So,
well, it's all about balance, right? But I like this format. I've always liked this format. I've always liked talk radio. This is the new talk radio. I think I could grow old. They don't have to see me. We could just do this audio, so they don't have to look at fucking Rip Van Winkle. But you know, it's it intrigues me, and I've really missed it because it was kind of the one thing that got me through the pandemic was when we were doing this. So I really enjoy it. I like where it goes. I get to think and explore myself. So I think this is the thing for me. I just don't know where I'm going to end up doing it, but I can do it from just about anywhere.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
can. I have so many dumb ideas about this type of stuff, and you and I have called each other over the years and thrown ideas at each other. And it's so funny because I'll come up with an idea, or you come up with an idea, and no matter what it is, we go, "That's great, let's do it."
right.
There's not a lot of thought that goes into what we want to do because we think, hell, we could bullshit and have a good time no matter what. And it's true. I mean, you and I was talking about you the other day to somebody. I think it was Sherry a while ago, and I said, Mike and I have had conversations on the phone that were never even a conversation. They were never even like, hey, how you doing? What's up? How's your girlfriend? Are you going on vacation? How you feeling? None of that was discussed. It was just riffing and laughing and having a good time. And you hang up the phone and you go, well, that what was that all about?
Right. Right.
So
I don't think we I think we're a lot alike in that we don't how can I say this? I've had friends that have been married for 20 years and then they get divorced and I go, "Yeah, dude, she was always a bitch. Yeah, I knew that from the start." And they go, "Why didn't you tell me?" I go, "Cuz it's not my place.
yeah,
It's your journey, dude. Like I can't,
no, exactly.
and so when it comes to like men's business, their actual life and their business, I don't delve too far into that because it's not my business and they're in their own struggle. And I don't want to say something that, it's like that chick you went out with and then you broke up with and you go out with her again. And it's like Troy Baxley, this comedian out of Denver, used to have this great thing. Uh, Susie's a skanky bitch, and he writes it on the bathroom wall and about five guys under go, yeah, she is, yeah, she is, and he gets back together with her, and he's got to go, well, she ain't that skanky.
Yeah, I mean this happened all the time. It happened with Lex, my morning radio partner. He was dating this girl who I don't think anybody liked. It changed him. He was acting like a fool. We all thought, and he dumped her. And I said it to him. I finally just came out and said, "Good, she was such a bitch, dude." And then a couple weeks later, he got right back with her, and I didn't know what to say,
No, you can't. That's
but I
I that
finally did. I just said, dude, why do you do that to me? How could you? I'm siding with you because you're my buddy. What a bitch. Yeah, I get it. And all of a sudden you're back with her. Now I got to backtrack. It sucks. I don't
I
get
mean,
it.
yeah, but I mean, love is. I'm being bringing back the R word too. I don't give a shit. Love is retarded. It
Yeah.
makes you retarded. You do things that you put up with shit you would never put up with. You, you know, the other thing too is like I think the older I get too is like I instead of snapping, I just observe the fucking behavior. You know
That's
what I
very
mean?
zen of you. That's very, do you meditate?
I've tried to meditate,
Because that's what I get from meditation. I get a beat now. Maybe that's what helped me at the coffee shop. I before I do something, I get a beat. Like, is this worth getting upset? I recognize it's something, and then I make a decision. I have that split second now where instead of just going off the handle, and I think that helps out a lot.
I remember that time you got the meditation app, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I got to meditate. So the alarm went off, right? So I'm doing a gig on some ship out of Texas, and this lady's phone starts beeping, and I go, what is all that? And she goes, oh, that's my goddamn Bible thing. I'm supposed to read the Bible right now. I'm like, you know, same stress. It's not really doing anything. You should read the what you should do it when you feel it.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was very funny how candid she was about the way she felt
That
about it.
is hilarious. No, I do that. I do meditate every when I get up every like after work, I'll take a nap for a little bit. Then I'll get up and I'll do that little 10-minute meditation thing. It's fantastic. I feel like I'm starting to get it and understand it. I'll find myself throughout the day. Sometimes when things are a little stressful, just taking a moment and breathing and trying to figure out what that really is and then let it go. Letting things go has become one of my champion moves lately. I'm able to let just shit roll off my back.
I used to do this thing when I was younger because I used to bartend, and then I used to do a little bouncing. I was never a big guy, but compared to like these animals that play football or whatever. But
I was a bouncer at a bar. It was a salad bar. Hey.
hello. Um, but I would go, I would say stuff like, "I'm gonna beat your fucking ass, but not in this shirt. This is my good shirt. So if you could just wait here for about 20 minutes." Like there was just so many ways to disarm people. I remember a
uh,
guy comes, "I fucked your mother." Like it was in Orange County, and it was hot in summertime. And he had a big, of course, he had a big truck, and he's, "I fucked your mother, you son of a bitch." And I'm like, "Well, thanks. I'm sure she had a good time, and she needed it." And he was like, "What?" Like it just was. It's so disarming, like
yeah, that
that.
works. That works. So, in case we ever end up reinventing ourselves, I wrote down some of the podcast ideas you and I have thrown each other over the past.
All right, this should
Let's
be
see if you
interesting.
remember this. Let's see if you remember this beauty, Mike.
Okay.
The Irish Shillelagh podcast, where we were going to do nothing but talk about shillelaghs.
Yeah, and they were all going to be dick jokes. Instead of saying my cock, you say shillelagh, and it's even funnier. Yeah, it's a clean way to
Uh,
do a dick joke.
and the worst thing is that both of us really believed there was something there with that.
There's always something there. I don't know
Uh,
what it is. It sounds good, but see, the funny part about it is we're not smoking weed. So
no.
if it sucks, it's really our fault.
Uh,
I remember like one time I was talking to Robin Williams, and I go, the thing about when you quit drinking and doing drugs, you have no excuse. Like you can't say, "Well, I was fucking drunk, so I'm an asshole." You're just an asshole.
yeah.
You know.
Boy, did you get to spend much time with him?
I had a couple of really good conversations with him because, he would go over and do the shows in the war zones, and we had the same demons, and I admired his movie work more than his stand up, I guess. But I have this fixation on Fisher King. I think it's a great movie, and I think it's right up there with like
Dead
Shush.
poets.
Yeah, well, Dead Poets is a good, and I also like Goodwill Hunting. But I think the messages are like right up there with Shawshank and Groundhog Day, and what uh, I mean, this horrible thing happens to a person, and do you let it define you the rest of your life, or do you somehow move on? And obviously, it's such a horrific thing that happened in the movie,
I
but
I had one moment with Robin Williams that was absolutely magical. And I was doing comedy at Cobb's Comedy Club,
nice.
where you know where that is in San Francisco.
Uh huh.
And the headliner says to me, "Hey, if I wave you off, if I'm waving from the back of the room when you bring me up, you'll know who that guy is. Bring him up instead." And I'm going, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about." He was being very vague about it. And all of a sudden I see the waving back in the room and I go, "Oh shit, that's Robin Williams." So I bring him up on stage, he kills. And of course, I'm sitting around afterward for my chance to hopefully meet him, and talk to him. And right after the show, the headliner says, "Let's go to back to my hotel room and just kind of chill for a little bit." And it was me, him, and Robin Williams. And we ran into the hotel room, and Robin's jumping up and down on the bed, acting like a fool, being Robin Williams. And then we started talking about acting, just like you were talking about. And I asked him some question. I don't know what it was. And he sat right next to me on the end of the bed and he started to tear up. And he was just talking about passion and all this stuff. And I had never seen passion come out of a guy so hard that right now it's still giving me goosebumps thinking about it. It was such an amazing night.
That's what I found with him. Um People were always asking me, "How do you have these conversations with him?" And he's not bouncing on the bed, I guess, to sort of say. And
Yeah.
I go, I just ask him how he is as a dude.
Yeah.
How's your sobriety going? How are the demons? How are what's going on? And
Yeah. You speak that language. That's cool.
and he would be, very forthcoming about. And I told him every improv line he's ever done in a movie, and he's like, "Fuck, you nailed it." There, that was an improv line, and I go, "Yeah, I could just tell nobody would ever write that." So,
That's cool, man. Well, yeah, I mean, I wish we had some. Who do you look up to now? Who do you find inspiration from, that somebody that we may know of, besides a family member or of course me? Who
I was
who do
just
you
looking up your skirt earlier today.
who?
Um, you know, I
Because
got
he was one for me. He was one of those guys that anytime he had to talk, Jim Carrey's a guy that I find extremely interesting, but also batshit crazy a little.
excuse me. I think his value system has changed so much that most people can't understand it. Like I was very taken with some of the things that uh, Jimmy Carter said right before he died, before his wife died. Is he?
Yeah.
He's not dead yet. Um,
I remember he
but
said, Jimmy Carter said, yeah,
no, but I I I, th- I think I think his work is pretty amazing. A lot of people,
that's a true humanitarian right there.
right? And I think he would be interesting to talk to. I don't know. I find myself more and more fascinated with people that aren't famous. I just I I'm amazed that people do what they do to get through,
Yeah,
and
true.
I find that um famous people are in a weird situation. Even just at my level, sometimes I go, don't tell anybody I'm a comedian. I don't want that expectation or that conversation. I
Hey,
just want to
be
be,
funny.
yeah, I just want to be a guy, and I don't want them trying to out funny me or, people. The thing about it is that people that aren't comedians say a lot of inappropriate shit trying to be funny, but it's very
Yeah,
hurt. It's very hurtful, actually. And they
yeah.
say, well, you make fun of everyone. I go, yeah, but it's a different situation. I'm on a mic, and I have a line that I don't cross, and you don't know where that line is, and you've already
Yeah,
crossed it.
but even in person, when a group of friends, anybody that's had a little stage time or has any sense of humor to them knows how to read a situation and knows how to get that joke in that is inappropriate, but everybody laughs. And I've had people say that at parties. How come nobody's mad at you for that? I said, that's, they know I was kidding, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's like dogs, right? I mean, they know a good guy when they see him. They know that my viciousness is not. It's a thing. It's an act.
Yeah,
It's
I gotcha. I gotcha.
like when I got in this thing with this woman the other day, and I was like, I'm on your side. I just don't agree with all the whining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you should spend I think you spend less time whining and more time uniting, and because this is going to really sound bad, but I don't think women could get together to agree what's on a pizza, right? Because there's so many agendas going on. Like if I order pepperoni, she's going to think I don't care about my body, and if I don't get all veggie, then this, and if I get black olives, they're going to say, so guys know exactly what they want, and they order it and they get it, and I think that's the difference between us, right?
See, I have a complete opposite view. I think that it should be all women running the world right now,
I would
because
go with
right now
that.
it's such a pissing contest right now, and it's like I would just like I just want anything to tone it down a bit.
Well, it's the same thing if you're out surfing. I mean, I haven't surfed in a while, but if there was a woman out surfing, it
Yeah,
it took all the piss and vinegar out of the situation because men were not being macho; they were being charming.
yeah, they thought they had a shot at it.
Right? Of course, every man thinks
So
he
you're
has a shot.
saying there's a chance?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I get it, dude. Well, thank you so much today, dude. It's I'm hoping that this audio works out. We could figure out to get the whole mic thing because right now you're still through the speaker, but I can't wait to see what this sounds like when we download it. And I want to do much more of this with you if you don't mind,
I
because
would love
I
to.
find you're a great source for me to go to, man.
I would love to always. I'm always available, and I'm going to start studying this thing so that we can show some videos and
Yeah, it'll be
play
fun. There's a
play
lot of
some stuff.
we'll figure this out. We don't need anybody else. We got this. All right.
We're gonna
Well,
figure it
dude,
out.
hey, real quick, how can people find you and follow you?
Mike Pace Comedy at gmail.com.
Well, that's an email. Dude,
I know.
don't you have a Facebook or a YouTube
I got
page
all that.
or
I got all that stuff, but I don't know how it works. And
okay, remind me not to go into business with you.
now here's the thing. I'm upping my game. So that
Are
the
you?
yeah, the thing that you made for me, and I got that caricature made of me,
Yeah.
and I'm spending time. I spent all night last night learning how to get to this point with this, and then I'm going to lock myself in the room for a couple weeks and learn how to edit,
Oh,
and
that's yeah, it's
then I'm
easy. I've enjoyed that part.
and then I'm going to start bombarding with my stuff, and we can play it and talk about it, and
Yeah, for sure.
the same with
For
you.
sure. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you more than you know. I'm a
Me
fan,
too.
and and I look forward to having you on again. And anybody else who's listening, have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your weekend. Don't do anything stupid, and we'll be back Monday to talk about it if you did. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Stay warm, stay dry.